Business news. As part of a broader effort to reduce the cost of governance in Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu has directed the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs to freeze the processing of visas for all government officials seeking to travel to New York for the United Nations General Assembly without proof of direct participation in UNGA's official schedule of activities. To prevent any sharp practice in this regard, the U.S. mission in Nigeria is accordingly guarded on official visa processing, while Nigeria's permanent mission in New York is further directed to prevent and stop the accreditation of government officials who are not in place on protocol list or who are not placed on protocol list forwarded by the approving authorities. By this directive of the President, all federal ministry departments and agencies are mandated to ensure that all officials who are approved for inclusion in the UNGA delegation strictly limit the number of aides and associated staff partaking in the event. Where excesses or anomalies in these regards are identified, they will be removed during the final verification process. The President wishes to affirm that henceforth, government officials and government expenditure must reflect the prudence and sacrifice being made by well-meaning Nigerians. The Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, has charged members of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy, Tax Reforms to develop a robust roadmap that will transform the economy of the country. The Vice President gave the charge earlier yesterday when he received an audience of members of the committee led by the chairman, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. Speaking on the importance of fiscal policy and tax reforms, the Vice President noted that it is pivotal, the potent tool for resource mobilization, and as such, he charged members to make recommendations that are quick deliverables in view of the nation's current economic realities. Vice President opined that fiscal policy and tax reforms are critical for meeting national aspirations, and this is also talking about taking global dimensions with global realignment of forces with emergence of BRICS and current geopolitics.
And the reason why we're here to see His Excellency the Vice President is that the mandate given to us by Mr. President is to help our country regarding matters of fiscal governance, which is really about how do we manage our revenue, our expenditure and debts, as well as revenue transformation beyond tax. So this is both tax and non-tax, as well as how do we facilitate economic growth so that our people can have prosperity that is inclusive. So Mr. Vice President had accepted to open our inauguration meeting, but had to represent Mr. President in South Africa, which is also a very important assignment. So we came here today to pay a courtesy visit and to give His Excellency an update about what we are doing, and more importantly, to ask for his support and guidance, particularly engaging with the sub-national government.
In the same vein, the federal government says it has no intention to borrow from any local and foreign organization. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, made this known at the end of the inaugural Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja. Mr. Edun has said that the benefits of subsidy removal will be plowed back into various sectors to improve business environment for local and foreign investment. He added that with the increased revenue from subsidy removal, various palliatives have been made available to cushion its effects on short, medium, long-term basis. China stocks led Asian shares higher today, with investors welcoming Beijing's efforts at supporting markets while bonds rallied and the dollar dipped on possibly softening U.S. data. The MSCI's broadest index of Asian Pacific shares outside of Japan rose 1%, with the Hang Seng Hong Kong up more than 2% and mainland China's blue chips up 1.5%. China has halved stocks trading stamp duty, loosening margin loan rules, but put brakes on new listings and approved new retail funds in recent days, signaling at least a resolve to steady the market, even if it supports the spluttering economy. Now, U.S. futures were flat. European futures rose 0.2%, FTSE features rose 0.8% to point to a positive return from a day's holiday in London. And in an effort to encourage foreign firms struggling to attract post-COVID talent, China's finance ministry will extend preferential tax policies for foreign nationals working in the country till the end of 2027. According to Senior Director of China-Britain British Business Council, Mr. Karen Petal, this will help to curtail further outflows of qualified international talent, while also providing multinational companies with clarity on their talent strategy regarding the deployment of expertise staff and structuring of their packages. Recall that the removal and provision of non-taxable allowances for foreign workers in 2022. A US dollar was subdued today as traders resisted placing large bets ahead of a slew of economic data this week, while the yuan languished near levels that triggered interventions last year. Against the basket of currencies, dollar eased 0.06% to 103.87 after slipping 0.2% yesterday. Yuan was a little changed at 146.43 per dollar in Asian hours, but remained close to 146.75, the lowest level since November 9th. The Asian currency is down, but about 11% against the dollar for the year. The euro was up 0.12%, and the dollar 08 cents ahead of Eurozone inflation data later this week. The single currency is up for a second straight day, stepping away from 2 months low it hit last week. Sterling was last at $1.26, up 0.16% on the day, also moving off 2 months low from last week. Also, Australian dollar was up 0.26%, while the New Zealand dollar gained 0.19%. And Toyota Motors, the world's biggest selling automaker, says operations at all 14 assembly plants have been suspended in Japan due to production system malfunction, bringing domestic output to a standstill. These plants account for a third of the automaker's global production. According to the company's spokesperson, this glitch is preventing automakers from ordering components. Domestic production has been on the rebound after a series of output cuts blamed on semiconductor shortage. However, output was up 2.29% in H1 2023. Also, share price surges by 0.12%, 2,439 yuan in afternoon trade after spending much of the morning in negative territory. Crude oil prices slipped today as worries that further possible U.S. interest rate hikes could pull down demand outweighs concerns that a tropical storm off the U.S. Gulf Coast may impact supply. Now, U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude fell today, and it is selling at $79.91 per barrel, with a price decline of 0.24%. Brent crude futures also experienced a downward price margin of 0.17% to sell at $84.28 per barrel. Bonnie Light recorded an upward price review of 1.15% to sell at $85.89. And for the OPEC basket, crude dealers are offering $86.89 with an upward price margin of 1.38%.